you carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, all, and welcome to the TTR Wor Lasses Show with me, my dogs apparently, Lady Sam, and the fabulous Aran Embleton. Getting in there nice and early. Please hit the like button for us. We love the support. We love it when you interact with us and one another in the chat as well. Super chats, as ever, are guaranteed to be read out live on the show. You can also become a member. And finally, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified of all the TTR content. Aran, how are you doing?
I'm good, Sam. I've had a really good week. Been coaching up at Prayer Hawks. Under nines was brill. A lot of kids really interacted. Dead engaged. I love me dropping sessions. Doing a lot of one-to-ones as well, but love them. Got some photos with the kids. And yeah, they want to do some more. So being all good. How's you and the dog scrapping in the background, to be fair?
Honestly, like I've got no idea. They're just like this all of the time. I feel like a single mother of three struggling to cope right now.
But they are cute though. They are cute.
Honestly, Aaron, I've got these dogs on like these CBD treats, like just like I'm like dosing them up just to keep them quiet.
Keep them tranquilized.
Exactly. Anyway, never mind.
Well,
We do have a drum roll announcement. Many of you have already seen, and thank you to the mods already who have been sharing this. But the Football Content Awards, yes, everybody, the Toon Review has made the finals of the awards. So please go and vote for us. The link is in the description below of the show. Scroll down when you hit that link to Best Podcast, click the drop down button for the Premier League and select the Toon Review like there are any other options. But yeah, made the final, Aaron. How good's that?
wow. I know when I seen it, I was like, that is absolutely amazing. And obviously, like yourself, please go on there and, vote for her. But no, fantastic achievement. And well done, everyone, really.
Yes, love that. Absolutely love it. So, I mean, as ever, we have a lot to discuss, but very, very encouraging start from the lasses. So we have the Sheffield United review this evening, and we also have a special guest coming on later. I know, right? So again, stay tuned for that one, please. But before we get into that special interview, we do want to do our review of the game last weekend, which took place on Sunday. I mean, Aaron, first game at home. 3 points. First game in the championship. Just absolutely class.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, totally different, streets apart from the game before. They kept possession well, which was my biggest concern when we spoke last week, wasn't it? It was like the lasses were doing amazing, but new level, and it was a bit scrappy. Game on Sunday, I felt like I was watching a totally different team, and I'm sure the listeners will agree with us. They kept possession. Alicia Body was holding the ball in the middle like she normally does, spraying it out wide. Just pretty much, I mean, even down to outstanding performance, Beth Lumsden, like, a goal and an assist. Playing down the left hand side, honestly, like she was winning the ball back left, right, and centre, delivering into the box. And to be fair, what a finish. Hales just chipped it over the top of the keeper, and she just wrapped her foot around the ball. She could have headed it, to be fair. When I was looking at the angle, I was like, stick your head on it. And I was actually heading it with her. And she didn't. She volleyed it with her like at a stretch. But what a finish. I was like, that was a class finish. But performance-wise, the back did. Cooper and Potts work like amazing at the back. I was so impressed with the two of them. Midfield worked really well. They found the space that I was on about, last week's show. And ultimately, we've seen a glimpse of Rachel Furness came on. She's at an older age, of 36, so she hasn't got her 90 minutes in that, but she brings the experience on. And yeah, like some cracking goals, cracking sets of play, and overall performance, Sam. I was really impressed. It was a turnaround from the week before.
I mean, wow, Aran, I can tell you. If anybody didn't get the subtleties in that, Aran was impressed. So yeah, we must have been doing good. Before we dissect, before we get into all of the details, though, it was a great turnout. There was over 3,221 fans.
Yeah.
Like as ever, amazing support, which was class. There was also the new pop-up club shop, which was, I think, really, really fantastic, because something that irked me, it just did my head in, actually, when all of the new kits are getting released. I'm on there ready to go, like refresh, buy. What drove me absolutely nuts is when you have the opportunity to select a player when you want to put on the back when you go to buy online. None of the Lasses team were there. It just, I got mine, like I had to go for the like personalized option. Like it just drove me insane. But what was nice to see is that there at the club shop, there was all the names already on there if you wanted a pre-printed one, which was amazing. So I was like, bravo for them for doing that. Something else which was and oh god, I'm just like on this like negative Nancy now, aren't I? But
What's wrong with you this week, eh?
honestly, I've had it. No, but I'm serious, because this hasn't just affected like last Sunday, but the continuations with the issues with the app. We know that not all women's games are going to be shown. Yeah, I'm going on. I couldn't make it to the match on Sunday, unfortunately. I was gutted anyway, so I'm resigning myself to watching it in the house with the yappy threesome over here. and it just doesn't load. And I'm refreshing, I'm like reinstalling the app. It's just not what we expect. So yeah, there's definitely work to be done there, right?
100%. And it will take a couple of games for them to get it right, make sure the link's correct. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it should be correct from the beginning because people have then lost viewing time to watch the game. I totally get that. But yeah, there was some problems with the app, which slowed everything down and people couldn't get on, and clearly lost a lot of viewers through it. So hopefully moving forward, that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that one, because it drove me wild. Interestingly, Eels, Silverstone, Mitchell were in attendance as well, which I think was a great showcase of support. Becky was interviewed after the match as well, asked a really good question about, how much communication do you have? I couldn't possibly think where that question stemmed from. But a really worthwhile question being asked there, which I was really pleased to hear. Now, apparently they're in communication every day or every other day, which I thought was really positive and is actually probably a really good showcase of they're quite tight knit. I said sorry, tight knit.
Stop it.
Some of them are quite tit. Do you know what I mean, though? It just shows that actually there's probably more cohesion within that head coach leadership group.
Yes, I know, 100%.
Which we need after Amanda left.
Yeah, 100%. And to be honest with you, from the background, hello, Amanda. Amanda was the face of the club. Everyone knew that, and what a good job she did. She did amazing. But I've been reassured as well that, it's still very much the same as it was, even without Amanda, with the people behind the scenes and the relationship. So, I was pretty reassured from from sources that I was speaking to.
Yeah, it was probably quite comforting for us as fans to hear because Amanda left a chasm for us in terms of that
Mm.
female role model. But we've got Sue, we've got Becky, and the rest of the team. So yeah, we're looking good. I
It
thought
was
it was
great.
wonderful. Yeah, I thought it
No,
was wonderful as well. War flags as ever. Just the display for Colin, the tribute at
yeah.
the beginning as well, which was absolutely fantastic, and I know would have
Mm.
meant a lot to the lasses, Potts in particular as well. But actually, it was quite an emotionally charged match for both sides, because
Well,
Sheffield United had lost Maddie Cusack, I believe it was. So both teams had a lot to represent and fight for.
it was really emotional, Sam, and you know the the war flags did an amazing job as they normally do. They're phenomenal. The amount of work they put in is unreal. The flag representing obviously for Colin, I just looked at it and I filled up. And Colin, every time I would go to the stadium, I was always there obviously early with commentating, and he would high five us straight away and come over and give us a cuddle. And such a big personality and character to lose from, someone that was being involved in the club for 25 years when they were backpacking, when they had nothing, So, yeah, it was heartbreaking, emotional, but it was great to see everyone standing and giving their respect. And then on the opposite foot, you're right, Maddie Cusack, obviously, tragically, and Sheffield were in the same position, so the game was stopped for a round of applause for Maddie. So, yeah, it was quite an emotional game, for both sides, and then um, everyone kind of, you could say everyone filling up. It was hard to watch, but it was also a mark of respect.
Yeah, and he was such an integral part of the team, so it was wonderful as ever to see. And remember, you can actually support the war flags with donations as well. They do such a sterling job. So, right, let's get into it then. I mean, who do you call out first? Who do you want to talk about first? Because there was so many brilliant performances, and I think to get on the sheet straight away was just unbelievably. I mean, Hales, how she progressed just up the pitch with the ball, just great attacking mentality. I think it's just what we've needed. And then with Morn, like at the back as goalkeeper, it's just
Yeah.
like formidable, right?
Oh, honestly, some of our saves. She kept her in the game a couple of times.
Oh,
For
100%.
some class saves. Hales, yeah. Movement off the ball was fantastic. That people, if you were watching via, the app or wherever you were watching, if you're in the stadium, obviously you can see a lot more because you're watching the full pitch, even where the camera isn't. So I was watching a lot of her movement, and she's phenomenal of giving other people space and coming off the ball, which is what she was doing. But ultimately, when she did receive the ball to her feet, she's not one of these forwards that will go in behind your defenders and run in behind. She's very strong, and she'll receive the ball and come off the back. So she was brilliant. Keeping a hold of the ball, keeping possession, and spraying it out, switching play, which was fantastic to see. And ultimately, bagging herself obviously a goal. I thought her performance was pretty decent, and the assist that she chipped over the top for Lumsden to finish with, fantastic. So I was really impressed, Sam.
Right.
Really impressed.
Yeah. Were you impressed?
I was really impressed. Really impressed.
Do you know what that like mid air over the head kick from Lumsden? It
Yeah,
was just spectacular.
it
Like
was. It's a good finish.
the vision that Hales has had to actually make that, and then the quality of Lumsden to go and finish it. And that was the intro. That was
It-
like under 5 minutes, wasn't it? So it
yeah, it
was
was.
just absolutely,
It's
we came there to prove a point.
100%, and it kind of setting the scene, isn't it, for the rest of the game, because then Sheffield War was on the back foot. I felt that, yeah, the finish was spectacular. It was outstanding, and we've never really let up from there. If I'm being honest, like they didn't. Although, yeah, they had a couple of chances. Morn had to make some good saves, all of that, but ultimately, on an overall, summary of the game, like we dominated play, and rightfully so.
And we've got a comment from Trevor here. Hey there. Our second goal wow, she just
Yeah,
ghosted in. Awesome. Their keeper looked well confused. How hadn't caught it. And it's true. It was just like, sorry, what's just happened? Like,
totally,
yeah,
totally. Trevor was,
unseen.
yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, and um, yeah, honestly, like it was, I felt like it was two sides of the coin. Like from one week to the next, like it was watching two different teams, and I think they settled a bit more, and they've obviously been working in training phases of play with Becky. You know what I mean? She'll have had her ducks in a row to what you need to work on from that game. But I thought I thought they were class.
Class, love it, and they
Nah,
were class. And I
they
mean,
were.
we need to remember as here that the London Lionesses were brilliant. They're very well funded now. They've made some really good signings. They've got a really good side. Sheffield United finished 7th last season, currently in 9th after 3 games being played. Newcastle United currently in 6th. We've played 2 games, but actually we're one of 4 teams who haven't had a loss yet. So it's looking really positive for us right now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a really good start considering you're going up leagues and you're normally the underdogs, and everyone will be aware of that when you get promoted into a new league. Naturally, it's a different level of play, so you're expected to be down the bottom. Really, that's been realistic and normal. But we're very fortunate. We've got a brilliant club and the back end, or both players in of the caliber we have. Which has made us basically just bump right up the league. So when we're not one of these teams that are going to be fighting and scrapping at the bottom, which would normally happen, we're going to be more at the top half where we're battling up there to stay, you know what I mean, with a decent level of football and decent level of players. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And I think for me, you could see that the quality was all over the pitch. I mean, like body was just
phenomenal.
unbelievable. Just like she was just everywhere,
She was.
absolutely everywhere, just making really key passes off the ball was absolutely
Hmm.
fantastic. And what I particularly liked is, she just seems to read the game so well and
She does.
appears in the right spots to
She does.
either, progress the ball or get us out
Mm.
of a tight spot. She was absolutely brilliant, I thought, in that game.
She was. We normally play formation wise with it in the centre, with like two and a two in front. And Body was just sat holding, and she just picks up play, reads it very well. She's a very clever player, and she was doing that all through the game. And she, at one point, she picked the ball up in I think it was in this was it the second half? Yeah, second half, and she cut across into the centre. And I've seen her score time and time again like it, and she hit the ball, and I thought this is going to scream into the net, and it just went over the bar.
Yeah.
But she's done it at St James's. I've watched her do it in training. And when it left her foot, I was like, this is going to be close, and it just went over. But she brings a massive element of danger to any opponent that will play, because although she'll sit there, she'll hold. And what she does is she plays the easy ball, or she'll dink one over, or but every now and again she'll like, right, I'm going forward, and when she goes forward, the defenders seem to back off, give her a bit of space, and she hits one. So yeah, she controlled play. She was brilliant in the middle.
And I think that's what I really like about this side. There's self-belief there because we're taking shots, we're taking chances. Like
Yeah.
we're not sort of trying to go for a clever play or anything like that, or nobody's particularly selfish either, which I think is
Mm,
really nice to see.
yeah,
Let's take shots when we've got the opportunities and go for it. We've got a comment here from Dan Brown. Hey there, Dan. Jazz was really sharp, I thought. Only player who was able to take on well the
agree,
team.
Dan.
Yeah,
100%, Dan. Like Jazz is, young, up and coming, fresh to the first team. Never mind the league she's gone into, the championship. But again, 2 starts for Jazz, and she was really, really good. She was picking up balls. She was harrying to get the ball back when we lost it, and when she was picking it up, everyone kind of knows Jazz that she's got one thing in mind, and she's a very direct player. She doesn't. It's not very often you'll see Jazz play it left or right. When she picks the ball up, she's turning and just running forward at a defender. And that's probably what gets her in the side, especially with being so inexperienced. She's getting picked for that because she's opening doors, she's assisting. You know what I mean? I can see in the next couple of games, Jazz picking herself up a goal and getting more confident under a higher level of play. So 100%, Dan, I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've talked about Lumsden, we've talked about Body as well. I mean, Hales, the first goal, just absolutely just brilliant that she had as well. Like she's getting on the score sheet as well. She's getting assists, just fantastic. What I particularly like is the acceleration.
Mhm.
Getting played in, and just that desire that she's got as well. But she's rapid with it.
Yeah, she is. She's very powerful. I got a bit of a shock because I think it was in the first half. The ball was played down the left hand side, and I think Demi Stokes played it, and she turned the centre defender was right on her heels, and she did exactly what a centre forward would do. She nipped the ball around her, span, and she absolutely took off, and I went, wow, she's quick. Because every time I've watched her play since she's come to us, it's always been ball to feet, and she plays the midfield in, she plays the wingers in. I've never actually seen her go with pace and have to run after the ball, and I thought, you've got some pace. So I thought she was really good.
Like comfortably though. It's
Yeah,
not. It's
very
like
comfortably.
she glides.
She she did. She left the right back for dead, and I stood there and I was like, she's quick, a lot quicker than I thought she was going to be.
I love that. Yeah, we absolutely left you for dead. How was your day? I got left for dead. Yeah, okay. Tom, how you doing, Tom? One of our mods there. Do you think Jazz will go on to play for the Lionesses? England, not London. I'm glad that we've called that out there. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, there's always the potential, 100%. Like, you know, again, she's very young and she's got a long way to go. We're still only in the championship, and we've still got to go to the WSL yet, and she's got to be able to sustain and be at on top of her game in the WSL to be able to be with a chance. But at a very young age, and what she's doing so far, she's on the right track. So I hope so. I hope I'm watching her pulling on an England shirt in years to come.
Absolutely. When we're in the Super League, though, obviously, because we don't want to lose her at all. I think the first half was great. I don't think Sheffield United particularly showed up for the first 30 minutes. I think we looked really comfortable in possession. We just seemed to absolutely nail it for that first half as well. So tell me what your thoughts on the second half then, Aaron. What was the highlight for you?
Second half again, it was just the fact we kept possession and held on to winning. And saying Rachel Furness, obviously Rachel played for Newcastle years ago, and she's come back to us after she's had a huge career for Ireland, Redden, and she's been all over playing in WSL. So to see her come on, get involved, show her experience, was great to see. Seeing some of the other subs come on. There was quite a few subs made,
Yeah.
giving them a bit of a run out, but holding on to play at a 2-0 lead, and know that you've got the depth off your bench for anyone you put on. Because really, Becky used quite a lot in the second half, and to see all the players that were going on, no one looked out of place. They all did very well, replacing the players they did. So just to see the depth in the squad more than anything, and that Becky wasn't scared to bring people on, especially at a different level where normally if you're winning 3 or 4-0, you bring half your bench on to give them a run around. You know what I mean? Like it was only 2-0 up, and she was prepared to bring people on. So that was good to see.
Yeah, and I think it was probably at the right time as well. So it was Haywood for Hales. Potts went off for Greenwood. I think Potts had taken a knock a little bit before that. Is ever controlling the midfield. Just excellent desire to have press in there as well. Who particularly impressed me in the second half was probably Stokes. I just thought, what a powerhouse, just the physicality, and just there was a moment when she just like got out of a corner and just went past two players like it was absolutely nothing to make across. So she was really fantastic. What did you think?
Yeah. Demi's got a lot of. I remember she was playing for Sunderland years ago, and she obviously moved on then to Man City and all of that. But you've got a caliber of someone that's been called up for England over 60 times. The experience is there. She's moved down a league, so it's a little bit different for her. She's coming down in ability as such, as she comes down the end of her career. I thought she did really well. What I would like to see a bit more from Demi is deliveries into the box, because she's a bit of a wing back. She's she's exceptional as a stopping any forward getting past her. She's just great at keeping her eye totally on the ball and winning it back. Going forward, she's always up there. She always tries to support. I just would love to see more deliveries into the box for the likes of Hales, because when I've seen, you know, she's absolutely like crucial with her finishing, and she really is just clinical. That if we get more deliveries in the box from both wings, I can just see it being like we'd just be firing on all cylinders. And I think that was the only thing for me. We got the all the possession, which is what I was mentioning last week. We've conquered that one now. The team looked more like a team together, formation wise and everything. I just like to see the wings come into play a bit more now, and more deliveries into the box to your forwards to get it on a plate for them really. And I think they'll score hatfuls if they get the delivery that they should be getting.
I mean, we'll re-review that comment mid-season. We're 2 games in, man, Aaron. How are
I know, but
we're fine, man. We're fine. We're doing great.
I
We're doing
need it
great.
now. I need it
I am
now.
so impatient.
I know.
Right, we do have a super chat in. Thank you so much, Ian. Hi, Lady Sam and Aaron. What do you think about the comment made about an ex-women's player saying women should be allowed to play in men's games?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wowzer, that
didn't
was
see
worth a
that one.
fiver. So
Yeah.
power then.
Um.
I'm
And
with
yeah,
you on this.
one Ian, to be honest, I never seen it, but now you've said it. Women and men's football is different. We're playing the same sport, and this is where the big argument comes in, and people get, quite irate about it. But it is a different sport. It's played at a different speed. For me, women's football is women's football, and men's football is men's football. Now, don't get me wrong, when it comes to people commentating on it, because I've seen comments like that. It's the same sport, so yeah, you can give your opinion on whatever that sport is, and obviously in this case it's football. But ultimately, like, the FA has regulations. I think it's over 11. I want to say that girls and boys can't play football together because of physicality, and I think there's your biggest word, physicality. I don't think it would be fair. Technically, there's nothing wrong with saying it would be a fair ground technically with a ball, because that's up to, training you put in the background, and how good you are with a ball. But when you're talking about size difference, then that is an advantage. So in my eyes, Ian, like, no, like, men's football's men's football and women's football's women's football. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's can the
That's just
comparisons.
that's my opinion as such.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Aaron. Totally agree. We also had a bit of a blow up on the pitch as well. I love a bit of shithousery. Furness was right in there
Yeah.
representing.
It always is.
Oh, loved it. Getting fiery with Sheffield United player Robinson.
Yeah.
It really got the fans going. Of course it did. Obviously, the ref had the final word. But all in all, I think it was a great finish, Aaron. Taking away the 3 points from the first home match of the season in a new league for us. So couldn't have been better.
Nah, honestly, like, great performance from the team. Great to see the depth of the squad. Possessionally, were fantastic. Defensively, fantastic. Positional play at the back from Potts, Cooper, were brilliant. I couldn't fault them in any shape or form. Goalkeeper, again, she came to save with Bacon a couple of times. Great. Like, honestly, I'd say I was impressed, Sam.
Hashtag impressed.
Hashtag impressed.
Aaron's
Yeah.
impressed, everybody, if you hadn't noticed. Right, Aaron, I believe we have a guest. Do you want
We
to
do.
take it away and I'll bring our guest on?
Absolutely. So, I would like to welcome this special guest. She is phenomenal. She's been playing for Newcastle, obviously retired now, but 25 years. So we've got a bit of history to go back here. But Jo Cartwright has played for Newcastle United for 25 years when they were unaffiliated and affiliated. So she's played alongside Rachel Furness. She's got a lot of experience, and I tell you what, I played against her a few times and she kicked me up in the air. So I can say she was phenomenal. Phenomenal at the back, phenomenal with her head and ability. Yeah, this girl was pretty good. How are you doing, Jo? Welcome to the
Hey,
show.
Jo.
Hi, thanks for having us. Thanks for inviting me. Hi. Yeah,
You're
I'm good.
welcome. You're
Thanks.
welcome. Good, good. Yeah. So, Jo, really, we just want to know a bit about history. Obviously, been with the club a long, long time, probably the longest out of anybody. How just a bit about yourself first. Like, how did you start playing football? What age were you?
So I think officially I was about 9 when I became affiliated with a club, which was then
Wow,
Newcastle
young.
Women.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all. Obviously, like everybody else, you play in the street, you play in the schoolyard, you play on the field, that sort of thing with all the boys. But yeah, so 9 years old, I discovered Newcastle Women under 16s, just through a friend of a friend, really, playing at Whitley Bay High School on this horrific concrete indoor pitch. It was awful.
And
But
I'll not ask you how bad it was because the
it was
facilities
freezing.
back then wasn't great, was it?
Yeah, but you know what? I just wanted to play like many other girls. Yeah, so just from there, really. And it was like in terms of being a young girl playing football, it was quite unusual. So it was great for me to meet other girls of the same sort of age, same interests. It was brilliant.
No, that's
Obviously,
good. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, you've mentioned about you just wanted to play football, and this was similar scenario as me. But in yourself, do you feel like did you have a lot of challenges? Playing with the lads or comments made, or what was it? What did you find hard at that time?
a bit of a mixed bag, if I'm being brutally honest.
Mm,
You had a lot of people who were quite pleasantly surprised. Oh my God, a
mm.
girl's playing football. And then when they seen that you could contribute to a game and you weren't just, it wasn't just bouncing off your shins, although that did happen sometimes. But that you could play and you understood the offside rule. That was the big question. What's the offside rule? And if you could say that, then yeah, you were laughing. But
You were accepted if you knew that.
yeah, but all in all, like I have to say, I've been very fortunate. I've had quite a positive reception, apart from one or two idiots now and then. But yeah, I've
Yeah,
had quite a positive reception from people, and I think even now, like people will ask me, "Oh, did you play? Oh, you played? Oh, right, wow, yeah, you're getting on a bit." But people still want to hear. They still want to
yeah.
know what happened, what it was like, and it's nice.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when it comes to back in financially, like nowadays, we've got Newcastle as they are, they've got all the money in the world, the women have got the training facilities, track suits that people think potentially maybe they take for granted, like all the kit, the transport. They've got a team of people that get salaries that, are employed. Back then, what was it like with all of that?
Well, yeah. So back then you had the same group of people doing the same jobs. They just also had a full-time job on the side. Everything was voluntary. People put their hands in their pockets, and we had sponsorship, we had raffles, we had you name it, fundraising. We did it, bagpacks, that sort of thing. And but then moving forward slightly, we did get sponsorship. So people would sponsor a player, they'd sponsor a match, they'd sponsor programs. Like it was gradually moving in the right direction. But yeah, back in the day, it was, after a game, you'd be in the clubhouse selling domino cards, selling raffle tickets. And, that's not unique to women's football. That's in other sports, that's in boys' football as well. So like we don't think we were anything special. We were just doing what everybody else was doing to do what we loved, really.
Yeah.
And Joe, we've got a question here from Mike Elliott, one of our viewers who tunes in all of the time. Was it your dream, Joe, playing for the Lasses Newcastle United women's team?
100%. You tell me of a young girl living in the Northeast, crazy about football, who wouldn't have a dream to play for Newcastle United. And even when it was just Newcastle Women's, it was still such a big thing. People would assume you were Newcastle United, just let them, we would say, yeah, we're not United, but people just thought it was brilliant there was a women's team in Newcastle. And then when we became affiliated, I mean, we didn't get the funding and that sort of thing. We still had to, but we got the name and we wore the strip. It was just like all your Christmases arrived at once.
I was just going to say that. What was the feeling like? And obviously, I wasn't part of your team because at that point I was down south. But like, even me seeing when I heard that what was going on, and I was like jumping up and down for you. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it was something that both teams. There was two teams in the Northeast, and we're both kind of were pushing to try and play. We're playing at quite a high league, weren't we? At that time, Joe, what league was Newcastle United in? What league were you playing in?
So we, believe it or not, the equivalent of what the girls are in now, Tier 2, we gained promotion to Tier 2, which was the Northern Premier League. I know the names have changed. There's been a little bit of a reshuffle. But if you were to say a direct comparison, it would be the league the girls are in now. So that's where the likes of Rachel Finesse coming in. She's done it before, and she's done bigger and better, of course she has. But, it was a hard league then with some absolutely quality players. Well, you know yourself, Aran. And we look back like now at our team and we think, God, we had some good players too. We, if we'd had the backing that the girls have got now, we could have been competing, and we did compete without the backing. It's, I wouldn't change a thing. We've had the absolute best experience, and I just think it's brilliant that it's moving forward the way that it is.
Yeah, 100%. And if you were to put yourself now, looking in the shoes of the lasses that you're now seeing on TV, you're seeing them on billboards, like that was just a dream that you's obviously looked up to and would hoped one day it would get like that. We're now here now. Like, would you love to put your boots back on and go back 10 years, or?
Do you know what? I'd be lying if I said no, but I wouldn't change what's happened. Who wouldn't want the opportunity to be a full-time footballer? I mean, come on, men and women, we'd all love it, wouldn't it? It's every little boy and girl's dream if you love football. Yeah, but do you know, looking back, Aran, there was like Marianne Spacey, there was some really good players that I remember watching, play for Arsenal. I remember some Donny Bell's games. Some of the players we played against, against Man United and Blackburn Rovers. I remember reading the Mia Hamm book. Do you know, she was in the
She was the
States, and
best
so
in the world, wasn't she?
yeah. But there was those people that I did have role models who were female footballers, but it just wasn't on a billboard. It wasn't on TV as much, but it doesn't mean that they weren't present. They were very much there.
No, definitely. And I mean, something that I remember quite clearly from back at that time, but we're going back when Newcastle United men were playing Man United's men at the Charity Shield at Wembley. Now that was kind of the first time for me that I was like, oh my God, the Newcastle women are playing at Wembley before the Newcastle men, and you played before the game, 2 hours before kickoff there, didn't you? It's like, what was that like?
So I was part of the squad. I was one of the young ones. I didn't actually get to play, but I went on, I warmed up. I was part of the whole day, all kitted up, but I actually didn't get to play any of the 90 minutes. However, that aside didn't make a difference. It was unbelievable. From getting there, just all in matching kit. It was the whole weekend. We had the full support of everybody's friends, family, everyone travelled down. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And then by the end of the game, at the end of the women's game, you kind of look around and you've got Eric Cantona and, they stood watching, Kevin Keegan, Alan Shearer. And it's like, oh my God, they stood watching. They came on the pitch. We were getting photographs with them afterwards. And by this point,
that's unreal.
By this point, Wembley's full, right? And here's us, a little women's team from Newcastle that nobody really knows about. You couldn't have set a better scene. And I was really fortunate to have been part of it at such a young age with some really really quality players for both Newcastle and Man United. I mean, they were all older than me, and I looked up to them. And I look now and think I'm thankful. At one point, I got to play alongside those women. Do you know what I mean? It was just brilliant.
And it is.
Can I ask a quick question, Aaron? Because I'm
course
just
you
like
can. Why?
dying here. You know what I'm like? If
Fire
I don't
in. Come on.
speak for a certain amount of time. So, Joe, I mean, I think Newcastle in the northeast generally were ingrained and interwoven into our own history. You must feel a massive part of that, and to see where the lasses actually are now, playing full time but competing at this level with, the Women's Super League on the horizon. You were part of the foundation of that. That you must feel just really honoured to have actually been able to be there. But I mean, you're part of history now.
I guess so. I think at the time you just do it, don't you? It's just what we loved, and we, everyone just pulled together. But looking back, I think it's more of a privilege. I feel privileged to have the opportunity to be part of it, and then look at some of the kids now these days coming through. And yes, people do say they get it easy, but do you know what? If it makes them enjoy it a little bit more, let them have it. Like, is there a better pride than putting on that black and white shirt? No, I don't think there is, and I back the kids all the way. I watching them. I don't get to many of the games because my little girl plays football as well. But yeah, I like watch them online and stuff, and it's nice to see. I'm delighted at how it's moving forward. I think it's about time, not before time.
I love that you call them the kids.
I
You
know,
mean
I'm really old.
like the kids?
No. Oh, that's
You're
how old
not.
I am.
Joe, 25 years? Like,
I know.
that's unknown. And, like, you started your career at Newcastle. You ended your career at Newcastle United because it was then affiliated. You never, and I know you from playing, and you were very passionate. You were never, ever going to go anywhere else. You didn't want to play for any other team than black and white. It was you through and through. Just the loyalty was unreal. You could have went to other teams for, you could have went and played, down to Doncaster where I went and things like that. And you didn't. You stay with Newcastle. What made you stay? And like for that length of time, that's phenomenal.
I think, I think you just did it. It was part of your life. And I think a lot of credit has got to go to Rob Atkin, who he stepped in and he saved us really. I mean, he's very, I think he plays down an awful lot what he did for us. And he attracted a lot more players, more coaches, facilities, links with Adidas, Newcastle United. I mean, the team wouldn't be where they are today without Rob's intervention, but equally without what Kim Moore did in the early days. She was the manager at the time. But I have to say, he was like my football dad, Rob. You could go to him with anything.
He's a very good egg, isn't he? And he's a good,
brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You can go to him with anything, can't you?
And we did. And it wasn't just me, it was the all of the girls. We were like a little footballing family. And it was nice. And, some of them were still friends today, and it's nice. But I have to say, like, the girls, there's some really good people, some really nice people involved with the club, on the pitch, off the pitch, coaching staff, physios, volunteers. We were really lucky that it was a good group. And why would you want to be anywhere else? And plus, don't forget, we're paying to play. You've got to go to work. You've got a mortgage to pay for. You've got a car to pay for. You've got a gym membership that we're paying for, so that on the days that you're not at football, you can keep yourself fit. So, going elsewhere wasn't necessarily an option for a lot of people.
So here's a question that I've got for both of you. All right, it's that way. Question for both of you then, because you were both in a position where it was, pay to play. Aran, I've heard stories about you filling, grocery bags for donation buckets at the end, looking for bus fare, and like that was just where we were at the time, and thankfully it's all changed. Do you think that there's an element of, is there any type of entitlement, do you think, that comes into it, or is this just purely a passion for the lasses to play? And I'm not pointing fingers saying anybody is entitled, but School of Hard Knocks versus you are paid as a full-time professional player there, that's got to be a different type of motivation.
Yeah, 100%. I get that. Yes, but ultimately, you know, it's still very fresh to the women's game, being a professional women's player.
True.
So it hasn't. I don't think there might be an element of players where they're just purely playing, you know, for the money. But as yet, I haven't seen that, because I feel like these lasses I watch are playing because they love it. It's for the heart of playing. So I still feel that's there, whereby and Joel probably mentioned something very similar, that when we played, it was purely a hobby until later on in my career. Then it became professional for me, but it was from the heart because it was a hobby. You know, I was paying to play. I was paying subs every week to try and help, you know, the club for travel at the weekend, or even for training facilities. Like, you've not got to forget that even our training facilities, we were paying leisure centres and places to play, really, because we didn't have facilities ourselves. We didn't own anything. The same as Joel tell you, like everything was always on, like rented, or like things like that. I mean, it's probably the same for you, Joel, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to the initial question, I don't begrudge any of them, not at all. And I think you can watch women's football, whether it be Ella Toon playing, or Steph Horton, or some of the girls at Newcastle, Rachel Finesse, Katie Barker. You can see when they play that they love it. You can see it in
Yeah.
the face, and I don't think anybody can disagree with that. And yes, some
No.
are getting paid and some aren't, or whatever level you play, that passion. There's still a little girl, and there's still a little girl in those players who are like, oh my God, this is what I love, and this is what I'm able to do. And I think I wish I had my time again. I wouldn't change anything, but I'd love to still be at like the peak. Who wouldn't?
I can see
But
you beaming about it, Joe. I can see you beaming.
do you know,
Talking
it's
about
just
it.
nice. It's
Yeah.
just nice that and yeah, it's not the same as the men's game, but you know what? We don't want it to be. Let it be its own sport in its own right, like women's tennis is, or, you know, women's hockey. You know, they don't compete with men, so why should football? It's not the same. Yeah, and I think again, like we used to beg, steal, and borrow at one point. You know, someone got spare shorts, or when you used to wear the old-fashioned, someone got studs in your boots. You know, that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
could we get a pitch? Well, only if the men weren't playing, or the men didn't need it, and that was, you know what, we just accepted that. We put our own nets up before the games. We got there an hour too early. We're on each other's shoulders, but you know, we had a laugh with it, and it was all part of it. You know.
I love it.
I mean,
And have you been following them closely this season as well?
Well, yeah, now my little girl's like super into it as well. So yeah, and it's nice they're doing well. They just need to hold their own in this league, and you know, just keep performing. Just keep it tight at the back. Just play well, and you know what, enjoy it, because this is a new challenge. And great, they've got some experience, like with Demi Stokes, Rachel Finesse. They've got a few others have came in, and do you know what? They just got to build upon it. They just got to keep going, build upon it, and just play with a smile on your face and enjoy it, and the rest will come. The rest will come as they work on tactics and that sort of thing, because it's just football. It's just football, and yes, it's their job, but you know what? If you enjoy it, it's half the battle.
So, Joe, off the back of a double promotion here, like we've had, touch wood, a pretty good start. We've got a game in hand as well. You know, what can we do this season? I ask Aran this because I just like to prod the bear, basically. So
all
where
the
do you
time.
think where
Do you
do
know
you
what?
think we can end up?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's a really tough league, and there's some really good teams in it. And I think it's not like men's football. And it's not in that you can play a team one week and you can beat them 1-0. You can play them 3 or 4 weeks later, and you know, you could get beaten. It's like it's such a competitive league with such quality players that anything can happen. But I would say anything is possible, but realistically, consolidate a position in the league, you know, keep safe, get as many points on the board as you can, keep it tight at the back, do the best that you very can, and just keep building season upon season, and it'll come. You know, let's not try and run before we can walk, and just take each game at a time. You know, prepare for each game, and which is I'm sure Becky's got them doing, and just, do you know what it is when they come off the pitch? They're so pleasant as well. It's so nice. I took my little girl up the training ground, and honestly, it's just, they're just nice, and it's really pleasant to be around. And that's what it was like when I played. And it's nice that it's still got that, despite the amount of money and whatever else is going on, it's nice that that hasn't lost that. I see things on like fan sites where people are saying, "Oh, the atmosphere is lovely," you know, kids are welcome, and it's nice. People should feel safe. You know, it's good. It's good that that's still there.
It is very family orientated, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are drawn, and the crowds are getting bigger and bigger at Kingston Park, which is great to see. In when it comes to playing and people you've played with, people you've played against, I mean, who are your favourite players that you've played with or against?
So in terms of playing at Newcastle, obviously Rachel Finesse was quality. I was a defender, so she was like centre mid, and you just always knew when Fernie was playing, you just knew what you were going to get from her, and that was like anything more than 100%. You know, she gives everything. Like, so I'd say Rachel Finesse, definitely, she was quality. Kelly Ridley, another centre mid, brilliant. Probably one of the best left and right footed player I've seen. She's just quality. What Kelly couldn't do, you know, that list wasn't very long. And then Vicky Greenwell, another good left back.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, I could list so many. We had so much talent, and I'm not, knocking anybody today, but honestly, we had some decent players. Our goalkeeper. Now we all know women's goalkeepers, they're difficult to find, but we had Emma McInerney, and I think she played for England, like the youth setup. But she had other interests as well. But Emma, she was cracking goalkeeper. And in terms of playing against, Farrah Williams, Rachel Unit, Jill Scott. We used to play in the Umbro tournaments in the summer pre-season, and some of the players, some of the teams, it was just quality. It was brilliant. Such a good experience. But yeah, we've played against some decent, and Eluga. I mean, we played against her when she played for Birmingham, and I think for 95% of the time I looked at the back of her head. I think she was that fast,
Yeah, she's quick, any very
and
quick.
she wasn't on for very long either, and she
Yeah.
watched. Yeah, she was quality, very fast as well. But yeah, but like I said earlier, it's a privilege to have come up against some of them. It's like, yeah,
I'm going to have to get quite a few of the names off you because I would love to get more ex-players on.
There's loads,
To talk about their experiences and share obviously with the viewers. But Jo, like, absolutely phenomenal. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
And loved every minute of it. Thank you very much, and I'm sure Sam will thank you too.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I think what's really important is that when we're thinking about where the club's going, we don't forget the history that's come before it. So thank you
100%.
so much for sharing your experience. It's been absolutely class to hear your story. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
That's all right.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Jo. You're a star.
See you later. See
Thanks.
you
Thank you.
later. Oh, she was lush.
Yeah, she is. And do you know what it is, right? I've known Jo a long time, probably of similar ages. Maybe I was about 11 or something when I started playing against Jo and things like that. She's very humble. She's genuine, and she's a lovely person. And to be fair, although I didn't have time to ask her more questions because we could have went on forever, Jo still plays and has a kick about with some of my ex-teammates. They do like a five-a-side, I think, one night a week and things like that. So she's still very fit. She's still playing and having a kick about, but she's also, as you could tell, like, she's all for the new generation, and to say, look, she's not one of these. You could tell that's like, oh yeah, I wish it was me. Like, she's so not like that, and it shines through. So yeah, I loved having her on the show, Sam.
But do you know what, Aaron? Like, you've got that humbleness about it. You were grateful for the shot you got, and you were grateful for the time. I mean, obviously, we're thrilled that times are moving on a bit now, but I just think it's lovely when we sort of tip of the cap. We're a people in a community that just love that element of history because it just gives us that foundation. So yeah, it was absolutely great.
You know what? Like, people say, and I get this asked time and time again, nearly every other day, like, that the exact question: would you love to be playing right now? And exactly what Joe's saying. Of course, like, it would be daft not to. Of course, I want to run out at St James's Park. It was me, was always my dream. and I never got to do that. But ultimately, if I could, this is what I was fighting for from when I was like from younger. All I wanted was a Northeast team that had backing, that had the club behind them, that had the facilities, that you didn't have to fight just to hope you could get a pitch on a weekend. They can turn up, and financially, everything is done. We never had financial stability, the same as what Joe was saying. So, like, I would give everything up in a heartbeat, like, to see what's happened for the future now, looking back. 100%, because all them little girls that I'll see walking down the street, going into school with their shin pads on, little Joe's little daughter going to football now. There wasn't anyone to run teams with toddlers and that. If girls and stuff now, they're everywhere. So sacrifice is sacrifice, and the bigger picture sees that, I can see the future's bright.
Look at you. Sacrifice is sacrifice. The future's
Anna,
bright.
Anna. I'm on me pedestal, aren't I? I'm on me
I know
pedestal.
she's got them all tonight.
Just
Goodness me,
knock us
how?
off, will you?
Bloody hell, I wish I could. I can't reach her up there. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody tuning in this evening. Thank you very much to our mods for looking after us in the chat as ever. Thank you to Michael McIntyre with that late super chat in. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you to Joe, obviously, and thank you all for viewing. And how are the lasses?
Come back and check out some green.